What's up, YouTube? It's your main man, AB the Hero, back again with another video. And today we're going to watch the latest episode of LeBron James' show, The Shop on HBO, featuring your boy, Lonzo Ball. So this is actually my first time watching a full episode of The Shop, all right? And I will say I really enjoyed this show. It is a show that features a very diverse panel, and they're actually having some very interesting discussion. If you have not watched this episode or watched The Shop at all, I will suggest that you tune into it. Go ahead and watch the full episode because there is a lot of just great information and life advice throughout that whole show. But what we're going to focus on today is this segment where Lonzo Ball, he's kind of giving some insight on some of the things that happened with the BBB, and let's just dig into it. Let's go.
So you obviously feels like you're going through a transition in life of now I'm taking control of my decisions and what I do.
I think when my daughter was born, that's what really kind of clicked. Yo, you got to start taking control, just because now I'm not just doing shit for me, not for my mom, my dad, who I love, but I got to look out for a little one that's mine, that I brought into the world. So, I mean, when she was born, that's when I started thinking about it. And then just everything that just happened, recently with Alan and everything, that's what kind of it woke me up.
Did that hurt you?
Yeah, I mean, I known him since I was 12.
Alan is his dad's
He was
friend,
like my second dad.
Basically became his second dad.
Became his businessman.
That he found out that did some things that...
He was way more than that, though. Like people don't understand how much he
took advantage of the kid.
I bought my mom and dad a house. He had a room, a room in there. So the media sees the way I feel about it was different. That's why I covered the BBB up on my arm. Because when I saw that, I saw him, and that shit just made me so, I was tight.
That segment right there, I feel like is one of the things that I was trying to express strongly in some of those live streams that I did, is that this is not just my dad's friend, my business manager took some money from me. This is, like he was saying, this is his second dad. This is somebody who for years LaVar is referred to as his brother. He had, like he said, they have a house and he has a whole room inside of it. So this is much deeper than I feel the media wants to portray it. And even in this, right, one of the things that Maverick does a lot in this show is he's a facilitator of conversation. He kind of brings people in. You see at the beginning of the segment, he's the one who prompted Lonzo with that question, and Lonzo had to say, it's deeper than just my dad's friend. This is my second dad. And I kind of gave some insight on this in one of those live streams that I did, where kind of the story behind it, and the part that ESPN did not really go into depth about is they tried to make it seem Alan got into some trouble a long time ago, got out, and then he's hooked up with the family and just started preying on them since the Jump Street. It's not quite how it went. It was actually Lonzo and one of Alan's sons who became friends first. Lonzo does the music thing. One of Alan's sons does the music thing. They linked up that way, and then the two families became friends. So this idea that it's just LaVar brought this person in, and it's kind of and then he somehow became the business manager. The BBB is a family brand, and it was kind of one of those things that started and felt like a family, which is why he's saying I had to cover up the tattoo, because it felt like it was a different level of hurt that he was feeling when he seen those triple Bs. So,
because when we looked at the transactions, the shit didn't start happening until my mom got sick, because she took care of all the money shit. So that's what really hurt me. I'm like, that shit hurt me. I don't even know what I would do if I seen him right now. I ain't seen him. So it's when that happened, everything just went off.
When you had to call your dad and tell him this guy that his friend that's more than him, was that super hard to call your dad Dad?
It wasn't hard.
It wasn't
hard, because people had to see my dad, and the media had to see him, but me, I could tell him anything. But that's the first time I would say that I called him and he literally shut up. I would say that. So that, I looked at Demo, I had him on speaker, I'm like, yo, you hear it? He ain't talking. He always talking. That's the first time I was like, no, you need to listen. So that was hard, because that was the first time I ever told him that, nah, let me talk. And he stopped, and I pulled up to the house that night and laid it out for him. And we've been moving forward ever since.
One of the things that I find the dopest about this segment is that he keeps addressing the misconceptions that the media has, right? So it's like they write these articles and they pump this information, they do these talk shows, and they paint this picture of like this family and these boys afraid to tell their dad anything, they won't say anything. And you see him saying here, look, I can literally talk to my dad about anything. Like, they have that type of relationship. So it always throws me off when I hear people say, such and such need to just make the decision. He don't need to listen to LaVar. You can't foster this tight-knit family unit and ride it all the way until you hit a point where you're successful and then say, you know what, now I'm going to start abandoning everybody and everything that I love and all of the hard work that we put in. This is also why one of those things where I would not be surprised if over time these relationships were able to rekindle and folks could talk and kind of figure things out, because this is such a tight-knit, close-knit group. And one of the things that I also mentioned before is that kind of goes in line with what he's talking about from like the moment where, you know what I'm saying, the mom got sick and with the Ball in the Family show. Originally that show structure was supposed to be so much different than what it intended on being. And so Alan was supposed to be somebody who was strictly behind the scenes and you really wouldn't see him. He was gonna help executive produce it. But then when Tina got sick, then they needed an extra adult to be able to sit around and politic with LaVar. So then they brought him in and then he kind of stepped into that role. But he was really supposed to be somebody who was behind the scenes, kind of pulling strings and making moves for the family in that regard.
Yeah. But you know what I wanted to go back to when you said, man, when it all crumbled? I'm just telling you, the greatest things that are gonna happen in your life are before you right now. And if that didn't happen, you would have still stayed in that holding pattern.
That's what I told him.
So it's not a crumble.
That's what I told him.
If anything, this is ground zero. This is where you get to build it properly, where you have real true foundation, real true friends, real true business partners, and the right frame of mind to build something that's gonna last.
This part here from Pharrell, my dog Pharrell, he still look young as hell, but you see that he's a very wise dude, because what I hear Pharrell telling him, and they call him Pharrell because he's the truth, is you now have a new opportunity to build and keep building and do things the correct way. You now have an opportunity to move to the next level, right? I watch Game of Thrones, and if you watch Game of Thrones or you behind, this is some spoiler alerts going to come up here for this latest season. But throughout the whole entire series of Game of Thrones, we've been watching your girl Khaleesi, you know what I'm saying, Daenerys Targaryen. She's been trying to take the Iron Throne, right? And then now she is as close as possible. Half her army gone, her leading lady is out of here, and everybody is snickering like, you know what, man, damn, maybe Jon Snow is looking like the real person we need to be trying to get in power. You know what I'm saying? You know, Rhaegar Targaryen. The connection that I'm trying to make between this, what he's talking about, and that is that she really put all of the work in to break the wheel, right? But then sometimes you get to a place where to take it to the next level, there may be some metamorphosis. In order to really see the vision come together, you may then need to hand the reins over to somebody else. And in those situations, the person who the reins are being taken from, a lot of times they feel like, hold on a second, man, this is supposed to be me. This is my destiny. Like, I done put the hard work in, but sometimes for the betterment of everybody, you gotta pass the reins and then you gotta continue with the mission. And what I hope is that they continue with the mission and keep pushing forward. And even if they have to change who's in the driver's seat, or they have to switch or add people who are adding input to the vision and where they're trying to go, but I hope that they keep pushing forward.
Your dad's love for you and your brothers, like,
Love it or hate it.
go
Love it or
so
hate it.
Love it or hate it.
Love it or hate it.
Love it or hate it.
Like, honestly,
Love it or hate it.
like I told you, when I first
The
saw
love
him,
that he got for
I was
them
like,
boys.
whoa,
It's real.
okay, all right, like, he's a lot. But when I thought about it from a different perspective, as a father of four, I'm like, he's the GOAT. That's the GOAT dad. Who doesn't want a dad that believes in you that much? And by the way, wasn't wrong. Like, who doesn't want a dad that loves you that much?
That's what I be trying to tell people, man. As people try to paint LaVar as this evil, overbearing father who is living vicariously through his sons. And the truth of the matter is, if you ever actually sit down and talk to him, it's never about him. It's always about them, right? Folks who live in vicariously, he would be the type of dad who would be saying, I did this, I got them here, I did this, I did this. The brand is about me and how I created. That's not what you get from him. For him, it is always, my boys is this, my boys is dope, my boys is this. Even when you try to like isolate and talk about one of them more than the other one, he find a way to bring the other boys in there. Don't forget about, now one of them is this way and he the best at this, and the other one is the best at this. I think that's the thing, that going back to the theme of what Lonzo was talking about, is the misperception of him in the media. The media portrays these different things, and I feel like it's dope to see a room full of men really appreciate like him being a father and like being extra involved in his life, in his kids' lives. And I know people be like, man, we be tired of hearing like the excuse like, oh, he just a good dad and he just wop, but he making bad decisions. The truth of the matter is that the decisions that he may be making that are wrong are decisions that there are millions of people who wish they could be in position to make that decision. The decision to say, man, I'm pulling my son out of school and he gonna play in my own basketball league, while to most people feel like, damn, bro, you just made a terrible choice, you ruined your career. To me, I look at that and say, I wish one day I could be in a position where if my son want to be a professional chess player, and then I say, you know what, the National Chess Association won't let you in, we start our own chess league. You want to play tennis, we finna start our own. You want to be an architect, we starting our own architectural firm. You feel me? Like, that is what I find dope, and that is the like genesis of like why I feel like this became interesting to me in the first place, is because there's these moments where I feel like as parents we say, man, I'll do anything for my kids, I'll die for them, right? And I think that while most of us will say that we'll die for our children, we struggle to live for them. We struggle to make tough decisions that we all have to live with. We struggle to sacrifice the shit that we love. We struggle to worry about, if you think about a dude like LaVar and how much criticism he gets from the media, right? Most folks would have already stepped back and been like, you know what? I want to give you this opportunity. We have the resources to create this basketball league. We have the resources to bring these professional trainers in. We have the resources to get you an agent. We have the resources to provide you an opportunity where you don't even have to go to college in order to continue to play professional basketball. But I'm not gonna do it because I don't want the media and folks on the internet to then have these negative opinions about me. So I'm just gonna let you fend for yourself. It's so crazy to me that in so many different professions and avenues of that people take to get success, nepotism is so real. But then when you see it come from a guy like LaVar, it's frowned upon. It also sucks to me when you see, and then Pharrell said it there at the end, he wasn't wrong. The ideal of starting the Big Baller brand and doing all of the stuff that they're doing was not wrong. Despite how it may have ended, despite I'm not even gonna say that it ended, I'm gonna say despite where it's at right now. Despite the controversy happening with Allen and the Big Baller brand and the family and all that, the decision to do it wasn't the wrong decision. It was a damn good idea. I hope that they take Pharrell's advice and then continue to build. Look at this as an opportunity to have a new ground zero and then build layers and kind of get to the next level that way. to me, that would be the best way to continue what they started in this new ball era. It's your main man, AB the Hero. I'm out. Peace.